everything you need to know as much as possible about the internet, especially as it relates to us in Africa and in Ghana. The Internet Society of Ghana Research and Education Committee has the mandate to make sure our stakeholders are well educated on the benefits of internet and how we can grow internet penetration, especially in Ghana, and for our national development. And because of that, one of the sessions we would be rolling out starting today is a couple of webinars to drive that agenda. The first of the series is on online identity, the risks and the challenges. I think statistics shows that anywhere internet goes in this world, there is a mass adoption and it introduces a lot of risk to the populace. We want to make sure we educate ourselves as much as possible on the risks involved in getting online so we can go online and enjoy ourselves there in a much safer way. So I welcome each and everyone on this webinar today, and I encourage you to engage us so we have a very successful program. Outlined today will be an opening remarks from the chairman of the Education and Research Committee. The president of the Internet Society of Ghana will give us a welcome address and address all of us here today. And then we will jump into the presentation. We have a very capable personnel who is volunteered to give this talk today. And after the presentation, we would have a Q&A session where we will have the ability or the opportunity to ask questions to get more information from the presentation today. So at this juncture, I would hand over to the chairman of the Education and Research Committee of the Internet Society of Ghana, Professor Adekoya, to give us an address.
Thank you, Stanley. And good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. Once again, you are all welcome to this first in the series of our cybersecurity webinar series. The committee, the Research and Education Committee, was mandated by the Isoc Ghana to design educational and enlightenment programs for members and the general public. One of the topics of interest which we thought that we should bring into the limelight is this online identity risk and challenges. As we are aware, we have a lot of cybersecurity issue going on out there, and many people have a lot of questions as to how to protect their devices, how to protect their finances as we move into digital economy. So the committee has packaged this webinar series together to discuss ways the public and the members can, one, protect their devices, their resources, and their financial resources also from the criminal-minded people. And another objective that we want to achieve is to be able to encourage, enlighten, inform, and educate members and the general public. That is the main purpose for this webinar series. We invite you to sit down, relax, listen attentively, enjoy the speaker that we have brought to you today. Is a seasoned IT and cybersecurity expert. When it is the appropriate time, it will be well introduced. So we want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I want to thank the Isoc Ghana National Executive for ensuring that this webinar series commences. Thank you and God bless. Stanley.
Yes, I can hear you. Yes. All right, thank you very much. We now invite the Isoc Ghana president to give us a welcome address.
All right, thank you so much, Stanley. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And it's good to have you here today for the very first Isoc Ghana webinar series on cybersecurity. And I'm glad to have you all here. As we all know, Internet Society advocates for internet for everyone. And as we want internet to be for everyone, we have to together build, develop and ensure that everyone is safe on the internet, so that the internet will be for the good of the community, not for the worst for the community. And you agree with me that the internet has evolved over the years with new technologies. Currently, AI is on the stage and everyone is using AI. But as the internet tries to evolve and improve, the bad guy also try to evolve and make their work also better on the internet. So as we try to make good use of the internet, we also have to learn how to keep safe on the internet, because if you don't try to protect yourself on the internet, you fall a victim or prey to the bad guys on the internet. So I'm glad you've all made time for the very first series of this webinar, which we'll be having very often, so that we continue to learn, so that none of us will be a victim for the bad guy. So I want to especially welcome you all, and for those who are not members but got the invitation to be part of this meeting, I will invite you to join the Internet Society Ghana chapter. If you go to our website, go to internetsociety.org or isoc.gh, you'll become a member, you register and choose Ghana as a preferred chapter. So I wish you well for this meeting, and I believe we'll learn, and after this session, I believe we'll have something to home and keep ourselves in, so that our digital print on the internet will be a good one, not after you've said the internet, your digital print will not be a good one. So thank you and have a fruitful meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. I guess we are all set to go into our presentation. Let me take this opportunity to introduce the speaker for today. Our speaker is a well-seasoned professional in the IT space. He's in the person of Emmanuel Wose. And Emmanuel is a driven and ambitious individual with so much passion for information security and innovation. He's been in the IT industry for quite some time now. He has a lot of experience in IT security and has worked on numerous IT projects, systems, and processes, both within the private sector and in the public sector. Emmanuel is married with 2 lovely girls. He loves football so much. He loves singing, and he's a proud Catholic. He's a proud Pescoba, and a member of the Institute of IT Professionals in Ghana. He is currently the Information Security Officer at Airtel Tigo, where he heads the information security space in Airtel Tigo. His educational background, very solid. He has a degree in computer science from the Catholic Institute of Business and Technology. He has an MBA in managing information systems from the UNICAF University, the campus in Zambia. He has a lot of IT certifications, and I'll just mention a few for the purpose of this presentation. He's a certified information security officer, certified by the EC Council. He's a certified data privacy officer with a certification from the Data Protection Commission of Ghana. He has a lot of certifications from Sophos, He's actually a certified software security officer with certifications in synchronization as an administrator. He has a certificate in software authorized as a software authorized trainer to retrain people on software IT infrastructure. And those of us who know the software as an organization, they are very solid in providing IT security for the whole world. In fact, just to mention just a few, as I said, he's a certified software security architect, a certified software technician, a certified software sales consultant, a certified software engineer. If I want to continue, it will take a chunk of the time for our presentation today. So I'll just cut it short here and then invite our presenter or our speaker today, Mr. Emmanuel Wase. Over to you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Have I shared my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, yes, it's been shared now. Thank you very much, Stanley, for this opportunity, and good afternoon to everyone and everyone on this call. It's a privilege to be given the opportunity to present to this wonderful team here. As the chairman mentioned, we all know what the internet has brought to us as a country, as a people. We know that a lot of good things come out of it. At the same time, there are a lot of challenges, a lot of threats and risks that are also accompanying it. So we may also have to put things together to make sure that, yes, we are safe whenever we are accessing the internet. But today's topic, as mentioned, is going to be on online identity, risk, and challenges. As we go online, definitely we know there are risks that come with it. There are also challenges that we would be facing once we are online and doing things out there. So we are going to look at a few things. Let's look at our agenda for today. We will have an overview of what online identity really is, the unique identifiers for online identity, so that when you are online, how we are able, the internet is able to capture who you are and what you do out there. The things we need to know, we would also talk about them. And we would also have a few statistics of how online identity coverage has been in this country. We will also have something about Google yourself to be able to understand how really we can be able to see what is really happening when we are using, especially the Google search engine and other search engines. And then we will delve into the risk and challenges that we have. Then finally, we would also look at we would have a Q&A session to be able to look at, to be able to ask questions, and then we would be able to share information. Personally, I prefer my presentation to be very, very interactive. Anybody can be able to ask questions whenever he or she wants to have a clarity on anything. So I would prefer that once anybody has anything, he can be able to just raise a hand, and then we can be able to ask questions, and then let's see if we can be able to give the answers to those things. So let's move on to begin our session. So an overview of what really online identity is. So in the age that we find ourselves, we see that there's been the development of internet. Once internet has grown, social media has also grown and expanded within our environment. And as we are growing, we also know that we have our traditional identity wherever we do, wherever we go and whatever we do. We have our names, we meet people physically. Same way as we go on the internet, we are also going to meet people digitally. So now that we are online, what we are doing in our personal lives is now being transformed also on the online platform, and we have to find ways of working online as well too. So in today's digital age, we all have an online presence. Almost all of us that we want all of us who use internet have online presence, whether we like it or not. We create and share information about ourselves once we are online. And some people just to share things that they don't even know that they are sharing. And these have significant impact on us. So especially on our professional lives. Let's move on. Online identity is an information about an individual or organization that exists on the internet or available in the digital form. It goes beyond what we do online. It also verifies that we are who we say we are. So once we are online, there are quite a number of things that occurs there. Most of the time, whatever we do online, sometimes people think that they are hiding their identity, but most of the online platforms, yes, definitely has a way that they want to capture information about ourselves. So we all know that once we are online, we need to find a way of keeping our identity, and our identity that we keep online we should make sure that these are real, because whatever you put online stays with you and follows you wherever you go. So maintaining a positive online identity is very, very crucial for us in today's world. Because if you give false information, it would follow you wherever you go, especially when it comes to those of us who want to work on the social network, those with organizations that like LinkedIn for professional work, all those things would follow us. So if we want to look for a job, we are searching for some of these professional work, networking, and all those kind of things. Employers also look for some of these things that we've shared online. So our online presence, we should make sure that we are giving the right information. And we should as well be careful of whatever information we share when we go online. Now, there are some unique identifiers when it comes to when anybody goes online. And some of these identifiers, especially, would be your personal identifiable information, what we call your PII, personal identifier information. And these things normally are issues about things about your name, your date of birth, your phone number, your Ghana card number, and any other thing about you, your address, your passport. Sometimes you would also have to give information about where you even stay. Once we share this information out there, this information become very unique and they follow us, and the online or the internet is going to use those things to be able to identify all this information. We also have, when we go online, there are online search engines that we also use, and we put information in there. This also helps in identifying people. The apps we download also helps give us some identity, because once you start downloading these apps also have they have some features that enable them to be able to capture which activities, what apps we prefer downloading when we are purchasing things online, trading, e-commerce, and transacting business online. Some of these apps or websites are all using this to be able to look at our behaviors and what we do online. The comments we also give, the likes we give when we are on social networks, what we share on our social media, all gives an example, gives us or shows the internet as to what we are and who we are as a people. It gives us an identity, and the internet uses these or all these unique identities to be able to identify us. That is why, for me, I always say, whatever you put on the internet, you should definitely know that you are putting in something that would not hurt you or would not hurt the other in one way or the other, because in a few years to come, somebody would bring those informations up again, and you would have to account for it. Now, there are quite a number of things that one needs to know once you are on the internet. Every website or online community you interact with has its own idea or identity about you, because each one of you, whatever each one of you would visit has a characteristic about you. It definitely would show whatever you do, how you are doing it online. An example is somebody going on to Gigi on the net, or Gigi, or even YouTube, trying to do something. Whatever you are trying to search, trying to buy a car, trying to purchase, look for building to acquire. Whatever you do online, these websites are capturing some information about you, and you are using it to be able to determine who you really are and what you like doing. So as internet users, if you go on YouTube, the type of videos you want to watch, the type of activities you want to watch, all these things are being used to help capture your identity as a human being or as an online user. So we should as well be careful as to whatever we do, the type of things we try sharing, the type of things we try watching, both on YouTube. Now there are other features that, like YouTube for kids, that is if you want a hygiene, a safe place for kids to be able to do their learning or perform their activities. That I would advise each and everyone to register for YouTube for kids for their young ones, so the kids can be able to stay safe once they are online, to be able to learn and get all whatever they need. Especially once you register on YouTube for kids and you are using those accounts, the good thing is you don't get some of these ads that come on in it, so that the kids will be seeing things that they are not supposed to see. Let's move on. Other things about the identifiers is that there are as I mentioned, services like YouTube and Gigi can assign to you what they feel that you like doing. It is simply a way of pointing to you or tagging a set of characteristics that they have collected or profiled from you. That is why sometimes you go on a site and then you notice that other sites that you have visited or other things that you have tried looking for would be following you on some of these sites. So some of those characteristics may match your real identity. Yes, some may not be right. When you provide personal information, such as your name, your age, hometown, website operator, you are creating your own partial identity, which is called a persona. And this is where normally personally PII comes in, some of this information. And for us as internet users, we should also understand that once we are using our information on the internet and we are sharing some of this information with some of these websites, they also have access to all this information and they may be using it for something. That's how come under data protection law, data protection tries to protect us, the users, so that those who are collecting some of this information will not use it for bad things. But also let's take note that once we are sharing these things, the bad people out there would also be looking for some of this information, especially names, email addresses, account numbers. That is, if they are credit cards as well, they would also be looking for some of these things to be used so that they use it for their bad activities. Online companies as well too build an extensive profile about you by profiling your interactions with them, and they can make money by selling ads aimed specifically at you. That's how come sometimes you find yourself on some sites and then other sites are also following you and they are giving you something that sometimes you feel you may not have subscribed anything from that particular site, but then it's as per the activities you may have performed there that have made them profile you and push those ads to you as well too. So whatever we are trying to access on any website, we should know that yes, some of these sites would be profiling you and they may also be sharing things out, sharing some of this information that they've collected from you. So let's also be careful the type of information that we want to really share out there. Let's move on. a few statistics that we have gathered, and these we can be able to see, check out from the site. The site is right down here. We can get them from the Ghana Statistical Service. We have a total of over 33 million per the Ghana Statistical Service. They are when you check, there are over 23 million people, internet users in Ghana as of January 2023. Ghana's internet penetration rate stood at 68.2% of the total population as at January 2023. There were over 6.6 million social media users in Ghana as well too, as at January. Facebook users as well too. Public, that is from Meta resources, indicates that there are over 5.6 million users in Ghana, and LinkedIn as well too gave us over 2.1 million members in Ghana. That is for the month of January 2023. So you can see that the internet penetration is really high in Ghana, but then we can do better as a nation. And once I believe our we are able to get better penetration from our internet service providers, our telcos, our ISPs, those in the hinterlands will get better penetration from those in the hinterland, because basically the real reason why some of those people are not able to access internet is because of coverage. And I believe that with the e-transform project that the government is performing, we would all be able, internet penetration would increase once we enter the next year, because from the project, the e-transform project will definitely kickstart by October this year, and that would make sure that government would help the internet service provider to be able to expand their penetration and coverage within the country. Let's move on. Then we say you have to Google it. So anything about ourselves, you definitely have to Google. There are search engines, but then we also know that Google it's a very powerful search engine that can help us identify things and the things that we share online. So today, if you want to know something about yourself, that is if you just have to Google it yourself, and Google would be able to give you some of the information that you've shared online. So Google has made it very difficult, very easy for us to be able to find information about people out there. That's how come we say that whatever you share out there, you should be extremely careful. Let's move on. Now, so Google search sometimes helps us to be able to do quite a number of things. The search engine would help people to stay. Sometimes people feel that, yes, indeed, they are unfairly being dominated on Google. You check on Google and you find something that maybe it's about you, but maybe you are not the one who may have not have shared those information there. Some people also find it some limitation with their career. If someone with their have the same name as them is reported as having committed a criminal offense out there. So let's say you are online and somebody has the same name as you online, it becomes very difficult for you, because sometimes people also have feel that, yes, it's this person who has performed this activity and is behaving this way online. Other people also find that they are contradicting information about themselves online. And some people also simply stick to people talking about things they did, but they may have done it years ago. That still follows them. So as I keep on saying, whatever you do would follow you wherever you go. So sometimes if you do something and you feel that, okay, nobody would find you, in years to come, somebody would use it as a weapon against you. So let's also make sure that we are careful with whatever we share online. All these are some of the risks and challenges that we face online, because online will definitely never forget whatever you shared out there. People would pull information about you and bring them back to you. This would lead us into the risks and challenges that we face online. Quite a number of them. Let's move on. There are a number of risks, but then I just picked a few of them that I think that we really need to take a look at as individuals and be able to discuss them. The first one is about identity theft. Identity theft. And this is one key issue that we have faced as a country. The BOG, that is Bank of Ghana, has mentioned that identity theft is one of the highest issues that has caused fraud within this country. And for us as a nation, you can see a lot of people complaining about mobile money fraud, a lot of fraud issues, all these things about identity. WhatsApp issues as well, to people's WhatsApp platforms are being hacked. All these things are about identity theft. Thieves are finding their ways to be able to impersonate people and use their information. So we should be very careful with the information that we share there. Every information you share online is very sensitive, and we need to be careful with it. Another key issue is about data breach. And it is one key thing that is affecting a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, that they need to work on to be able to protect all the data, especially the personal data that people are having. It is really critical. If you are a company and you are having people's personal information, you need to put in measures to protect those personal information. Because the day the data subject comes back to you that he wants the information, or if he sees that the information he has given you, you have shared it with people that he may not have authorized you to share with, your organization would be in the breach and would face some regulatory sanctions. So these things are things that we need to put in place once we are hosting people's personal information. Another risk that comes once we are online is let's move forward. It's about phishing and social engineering. This is the highest contributing factor of security once we are online. Once we are sharing our data, our personal identity information online, our emails, things about ourselves, phishing and social engineering, you see that it's the highest, or has the highest risk amongst internet users. Today, you get a mail and people are trying to attempt to redirect you to other sites. Your emails are being used to share information to other people. It is the issue that a lot of us are facing. So we need, as a people, to put in measures to make sure that we protect ourselves, even the platforms that we use, our personal devices that we use. We need to protect all these things so that we don't fall risk to some of these phishings. Some of these phishings has caused organizations millions of dollars, millions of Ghana cedis. So we need to be extra careful with how we are protecting ourselves with these things. We need to stay very safe, make sure we are using endpoint detection solutions that are helping us protect ourselves and our organizations as well too. Another concern is about privacy. And when we talk about privacy, the things that we have shared with our either our data controllers or the people that we have worked with, wherever we go, sometimes we just get there and we share our information out there. You get to an event, you just take a paper and you write your name, you give all information about yourselves. All these things are privacy issues. And as a country or as a people, we need to find ways to be able to make sure that we are protecting ourselves from some of these issues, so that these websites that we go, these applications that we download, sometimes once you enter into any site, there are these privacy issues that we have to accept to. Once we are accepting to it, then we know that all this information that we are giving them is now can be used against us in one way or the other. So we need to find ways of protecting ourselves. And then another issue is about legal and regulatory compliance. Once there are privacy issues, some of these compliance are also there to make sure that organizations that are taking information, personal information from people, or you are collecting information from other organizations, from individuals, from even your employers, you need to put measures in place to make sure that you safeguard these personal information from people. Because the data subjects, when we say data subjects, they are the people's whose information you hold. Every company, once you have employees, it means that you are having people's personal data. They are personal information about these people, and you have to make sure you are putting measures that would protect those informations from those people. And then last but not the least is about oversharing on social media. And this is one thing that a lot of Ghanaians have been doing that I think we need to make sure that, yes, we reduce it to the minimal, because whatever information you are sharing out there is very critical and can give you a lot of issues. If you are taking pictures about yourselves and you are sharing out there, and they are pictures that are not genuine about yourselves, or they are pictures that are bad, especially for the young ones, these pictures will forever follow you on the internet. So once we are out there, especially on the social media, we have connected out there, everything is out there to everyone. We should stay safe. We should make sure that whatever we are sharing is not something that will haunt us today, tomorrow, or in the future, so that we will stay very safe, and the internet would be safe for us as a people, especially for the young ones who are coming. They would be able to perform activities on the internet and be protected as well too. So these are but a few of the challenges and the risks that we face once we are on the internet. And as a people, I would always say, whatever you share on the internet would follow you. The identity you share out there, it's what sometimes your employers would even use to be able to help employ you or look for you once you are hiring for jobs. And some of these things, if you share things that are not right or they are contradictory, would follow you tomorrow, it would follow you today or the day after. So as a people or as internet users, our advice is that let's stay safe. Let's try to go to sites that would not hurt us. If you're especially going to any site, check if the site is a good site with an HTTPS site that would help protect you so that you would stay safe on the internet. So thank you. And then I think for these are the issues that I can share for now. But then I believe there were questions out there for us to be able to answer. If some of the questions have already been shared on it, I think we can just start. We can ask them. If you also want to raise your hand and you have a specific question to ask, you can then proceed. But Mr. Moderator, if there are questions out there, you can read the questions out for us so that we can share our views on those questions. Thank you to everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. If you have any questions, I would encourage you to post it in the chat. At the bottom of your screen, you will see a chat menu. Click on it and post your question there. It will be read out for the speaker to address. Prof, I can see your hand up.
Thank you, Stanley. I just wish to inform us that this program is being telecast live on YouTube, and the link has been shared. And the Greener FM 95.9 Sunyani is also covering the program, and it will appear in their tech program tomorrow. That is the information I want to share.
Okay, thank you, Prof. There is a question from Gershon who says that There are some websites that have HTTPS, but are still not safe. How can we know if they are safe websites?
So, Stanley, thanks for the question. That is the difficult part. Yes, the issue is that these people, these bad people, these malicious people keep on creating sites each and every day. They create new sites each and every day. And sometimes because these sites have not been identified by some of these security tools so that they can be able to get them and then flag them as bad sites, it is extremely difficult for you to be able to notice that, yes, indeed, this is a good site or it's a bad site. But normally you would have to look at the URL. That you normally see that if it is the normal site that you are accessing, the URL would give you the right name. Normally, some of these bad people would definitely add a few things, a few lines to whatever the genuine site and try to redirect you. But to stay safe, the key thing for you to be able to do is make sure that you have a good endpoint detection and response solution. Just to make it, cut it down to the layman's language, a good antivirus. I mentioned endpoint detection and response because we have moved to the next level where these solutions are moving an extra level higher to be able to see things that they have not seen before. That is in real time. So I would advise that everybody, at least, I know organizations always have some of these antiviruses on them, but for us, the individual users, let's not always just try go for the free things. Let's try and get, especially for our personal devices, get very good endpoint detection and response solutions to be able to protect us. For those of us who use our phones and our Android solutions, there are some free solutions out there from some of the security providers to be able to help protect us. This, you can also have some parental control to protect, especially ourselves and our kids. So these things can be able to help flag some of these malicious links once you try opening them. Thank you.
All right. The next question is from Ken Alonu. My question is, when you travel these days and use public Wi-Fi, you get exposed to identity and information theft. They have extended it to even the use of public charging systems. In your opinion, why has the internet protocols become so porous, making identity theft very easy for the hackers? The protocols that should have been protecting us are now porous.
I understand you perfectly. But let's also take note that, understand that the people there, the hackers are always a step ahead of us. They would always be a step ahead of us. That is why, as internet users, you don't just connect to any network that you find yourself, especially with the issue that he just mentioned, some of these public Wi-Fis and stuff. You go there and somebody can be able to sniff whatever you have connected onto it. So for me, it is always good you stay extremely safe. Also make sure that you always have an endpoint detection and response on your platform. Don't just connect also to any public Wi-Fi. Sometimes even the public Wi-Fi you are trying to connect it to, somebody has connected to it and redirected it to a different network, and is trying to sniff whatever traffic you are performing or whatever transaction you are performing out there. So for me, my advice is stay safe. Don't just connect to any network that you see. There are some people, once they get any free Wi-Fi, they will connect. And that is where the threats are. Let's please try as much as possible to be careful with whatever whatever network we connect. And when we connect, and especially for those who are transacting businesses, I would rather prefer either you use a private network to perform those transactions so that it's very, very secure, or you try as much as possible to go on a network that you are familiar with to prevent some of these issues from occurring. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emmanuel. In a nutshell, the things that are indicated as free online are actually not free. Very, very expensive. and not free indeed. You pay in another sense. Henrietta says, what are the best practices for protecting personal information online? The best practices to protect your personal information online.
When it comes to personal information, especially when you are online, you have to be very careful with how much information you are sharing out there. Be extra careful with how much information you are sharing out there. Who you are sharing out those information with as well too, especially with some of these sites, you have to take note of the privacy, the privacy rights that they share out there, especially once you enter any site. Now there are some requirements from some of these organizations, from these institutions, from these websites. Whatever website that you subscribe to or you go to, you have to understand and get to know what the information that you are sharing would be used for, so that as a data subject, you would have the right to be able to request from that particular platform what information they are doing, what they are doing with your information, so that when you have an issue with that, you can easily perform what we call request for your data subject right. Every data subject, that anybody who shares his information with an institution or with an organization, with a website, has a right to those information and has a way to he can be able to request for those information, what they are doing with those information, and how he can be able to even ask them to take away those information that he has already shared. We first need to understand and know what our rights are, which that is on the information you are sharing before you share. So I would always say, be careful with the sites we are sharing those information with, and first also get to know what the information those sites are going to do with those information that you are going to share out there, so that you can be able to now request for, you can do what we call request for your data subject right, your rights. You can request for your rights so that they can be able to give you back the information that you've shared out there. Thank you.
Eric also says, please, how does my digital footprint affect my online identity? How does my digital footprint affect my online identity?
So basically, these go hand in hand. Whatever information you have shared out there is your identity. And sometimes you are sharing it definitely with either an online platform, an organization, sometimes with an advertising site, sometimes with a platform for e-commerce, and other platforms as well too. There is a direct correlation with the identity you use with whatever platform you are doing. So whatever you are doing online, there is a direct relation with who you say you are. That is because some of these sites may ask you to identify who you are, and sometimes you may have to register. Others, you may not ask you for some of some personal information like your email, your name, but then with whatever you are doing out there, let's say if you are surfing for something, looking for a car to acquire, a building to acquire, some of these, they use these cookies to profile you, so that it helps them to be able to identify who and what you like doing, for them to be able to share some of this information out there with you when they feel that, yes, indeed, these are the things that the person would really need. So there is a direct correlation with whatever you do online and the identity, because your identity sometimes may be the information that you have shared. As I mentioned, your information about yourself, your name, where you live. It can also be what you like surfing, the things you like watching, the videos you like watching. So as I said, there is a direct correlation between your digital footprint and then your identity online.
Okay. And this identity can be used by somebody impersonating you to do other things in your name and on your behalf without you even doing.
Definitely. Definitely. That is why we always say that you should be careful with whatever you are sharing. And just to add up, especially those of us who are on WhatsApp platforms, we always advise that even if you are not on a WhatsApp, you are not on a group platform, make sure that you activate two-factor authentication. Your emails as well too. Some of these emails platforms also have these two-factor authentication, so that once somebody is trying to access or trying to use your identity, there would be that link of the person trying to authenticate and authorize you with a second level using either your email ID, your personal number, phone number, or any other authentication system that you want to use to be able to authorize the person to be to use the information that you have already shared out there. Thank you.
Okay. Modestus says, how can I take off this information that I put about myself online? We upload a lot of information about ourselves. How do I take down this information about myself online?
This is where the difficulty is. Whatever information you share, that information normally is shared with a specific either a website, a platform, an online platform, and it depends on the specific platform that you've shared it with. If it is about Facebook, then you have to go through the process of requesting Facebook to take down all those information, and that you would have to go through a process. If it's about WhatsApp, definitely it's also you have to go through a process. So it is extremely difficult to say that you are going to have just one platform that will take off every information about yourself that you've shared out there. It is specific to the platform that you have shared the information with. And also, don't forget, some of these platforms work together. That's how come sometimes you've shared it with a platform, but then because of the browsers and the crawlers, once the searches come in, it is able to correlate some of this information from the various platforms that you've shared this information. But just to add up, if you don't want anything to go out there, don't share it at all. Otherwise, it is extremely difficult for it to be taken down.
You don't want anything online, the best is not to upload it. We fill a lot of free forms online. Some of them, we don't even remember the websites that we did visit to upload this information, so that makes it, like you rightly said, very, very difficult to track what information you've uploaded. You are downloading a book, a window pops up that puts in register and provide information. You have no idea which URL is requesting you to register and upload that information. The quickest thing we do is we upload. How do you track who asked me to upload that information and pull it down? So the best, like you rightly said, if you don't want anything about you online, don't post it online. Henrietta says, what are the key features to consider when selecting an antivirus for your computer or your device? The key features to consider.
So in today's age, now for the technical people, we don't even want to mention antivirus. We would rather want to say an endpoint solution, because that is what sits directly on your device, the devices that you see. Our traditional antiviruses would normally be looking for signatures, things that they see to be able to look at it. But in the age that we find ourselves, every minute you have millions of viruses being created. So it is extremely difficult for these old antiviruses, that is the traditional ones, to be able to detect these new threats that keep on coming. So I would advise that if you are going for an endpoint detection or what we call an antivirus, you rather look for an antivirus that does what we call endpoint detection and response. These ones, normally we call it, do behavioral, they look at the behavior of the malwares or those bad activities to be able to say, yes, indeed, this is a malicious activity, so let me prevent it from even popping up or performing its activities. So I would advise we look for some of these things. I always say free things are not free. There is nothing free out there. But then one good thing is that there are some of these solutions that when you go on Google Play Store, you look for their ratings, these endpoints. They are some of these antiviruses are endpoint detection and response solutions are now putting some on the Android Play Store for you to be able to use them to do what they need to do. What we also need to do is that there are features within them that we may have to activate once we've been able to we acquire these solutions. So when we acquire them, we need to look into the features that can help you protect yourself. The what do you call it? The application control feature within it. Sometimes even parental controls for us to be able to control what our kids are looking at, what they are watching, the site we want to allow our kids to be able to watch. Something that can be able to do website filtering. And sometimes you also have something that can be able to look for malicious botnets and do what we call command and control CNC. These features are the ones we may have to look out for when we are looking for endpoints that can help protect us. They are key. They are really key. I always say those traditional antiviruses, they are now out of date. So we would always have to look for the way antiviruses that look for behavioral activities and are able to react in real time. So for me, I would always say anybody who wants to buy an antivirus that is online, that is on-prem, you should be careful, because nowadays what happens is that these antiviruses are updated daily. Sometimes every minute, every hour, they are updating themselves for them to be able to be abreast with the malicious or new viruses that keep on coming each and every minute and every hour.
Unfortunately, we are running out of time. We'll be wrapping up in about 5 minutes. But there's this question from Belinda, who says that, I understand the password manager uses advanced encryption to protect our credentials. As an information security officer, do you think it is safe to use password managers? The last but one question, is it safe to use password managers?
Especially when it comes to, if it's an organization, there are encryptions to it, but then it sometimes also depends on the policy that you have within your organization. If it is a personal thing, you would also have to look at which particular password manager solution you are using. Sometimes as well too, because it's an organization, somebody would try as much as possible. Another person may also have access to these password managers. There are pros and there are pros and there are cons to it. But depending on the environment you find yourself and what you really want to achieve, sometimes it is good. Sometimes it may hurt you depending on the people who are managing it, because once that password manager is broken, all your passwords are now exposed to the person who has access to it. So you need to really look into it to be able to decide. So sometimes you may have to find a way around it. Although sometimes we say that it is outdated, in some organizations, we still write passwords and keep some of these master passwords in places, safe places, just to be able to find our way around some of these things. So you need to find a fine balance once you are using a password manager. So okay. I will not be in the right position to say that yes, it is totally right or it is totally wrong.
In case of data privacy and data and privacy issues, is the country's data protection and cybersecurity laws adequate for us to seek remedies and redresses? Are there other options available for us?
I believe our Data Protection Commission, that is our DPC, is doing quite some good work, because this is a gray area that our organizations are trying to get into. But DPC is doing a lot. Yearly, they are trying to sensitize people about their data, especially the data subject. Those of us who are sharing our information with them, with organizations, with the data controllers, with various organizations, they are trying to sensitize us. They are also trying to empower those organizations that are collecting those data or who holds data from people, individuals, or their employees, so that they put in all the necessary measures to protect these data that they are hosting. Their rights, people should know their rights, and that education is going on. But every organization that is hosting personal data should, as much as possible, make sure that they are registered with the Data Protection Commission. Basically, what we have is almost the same as what GDPR, that is the General Data Protection Law from the EU, also has, but we have localized our own as a nation. If you fall foul and you are caught, that law will deal with you. There are regulations to it that we would have to make sure we follow. And especially, I know the Data Protection Commission is trying to sensitize every company that is doing collecting personal data, to make sure that they put in all the various measures, the security measures, the privacy measures, to be able to protect it, because it can, nobody knows when you would be attacked. So you need to have all those measures and regulations in place. Once those measures are put in place and you are attacked, the protection because of the measures you have used, all the issues, the risk would be mitigated, and then you would be a bit safe. But then, just to add up, Stanley, as a country, we have done some work. There is so more work to be done, and I believe that the Data Protection Commission is trying to do more. We also have to do more to train ourselves. We have to train more practitioners so that they can be able to perform the activities out there. Thank you.
All right. The last question, I'll take it from the reporter, Robert. What advice do you have for students and persons who depend on OpenAI for whatever reasons they use it for? ChatGPT, OpenAI. What advice do you have for all of us?
Yeah, Robert, I knew this question would come because this is the age where we find ourselves. Everything is about artificial AI. Things are, even now, some of anything you need, just go into OpenAI, and then OpenAI can help you, give you the information. But there may be a downside to it. That is especially for the students who want everything to be given to them by OpenAI. Then it would be difficult for us to now start thinking out of the box. The question is, how are you putting yourself in shape to be able to be able to be abreast with the new things that are coming in? Have you weaponized yourself well for the new things that are coming in? Are you equipped enough for the opportunities that are coming in? That is what I think for the younger ones who are coming up should be looking for, rather than just OpenAI. It's a helping tool that we may use to be able to achieve some of the things that we want to. But that will not help us to be holistic, to be good and totally understand what really we need to be able to do. It would also not help some of us to be innovative. So yes, OpenAI is good for us, but then it should not be the only thing that would help us to be able to do our work. We should let it help us in doing or achieving what we want to achieve, rather than just using it for everything that we will do. Otherwise, we would become very dull, we will not be innovative, and we cannot do anything by ourselves as individuals.
Okay, all right. On this note, I guess we've had a very fruitful session. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for coming online and thanking our presenter. At this juncture, I would like to invite the chairman for the Research and Education Committee of the Internet Society of Ghana. Prof, over to you.
Thank you. We would like to invite Dr. Amankwa to give us the closing remarks.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Please, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me start by thanking all participants here present for making it to this afternoon's seminar, which is on the topic online identity, the risk and challenges. We hope that you found the discussions interesting, informative, and engaging at the same time. Well, following or listening to the discussions closely, the few I have picked is that our online identities have become increasingly important in our daily lives. But then at the same time, they also come with some significant risk and challenges, from online identity thefts to harassment to the difficulty of managing multiple online personas. And then also, there are many factors that we need to consider when navigating the digital landscape. It is also important for us to understand that all hope is not lost, because there are steps we can take as given by the presenter for the day. There are steps we can take to protect our online identities. That is by being mindful of what we share online, using two-factor authentication, and being also aware of various online scams. As we bring today's session to a close, we encourage you all to continue to educate yourselves and others about the risks and challenges of online identity, and then also to take proactive steps in safeguarding whichever information we put out there. On this note, I'll say a big thank you to all of you once again for joining today's session, and we look forward to continuing the conversation on this important topic. Thank you all, and God bless us all.
All right. Thank you, Eric. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Look forward to the next webinar from the Internet Society of Ghana, and we hope